Imagine a world where ravens whisper fate, rivers flow with the blood of giants, and a woman's laughter can stop the sun. These weren't mere tales, they were unshakable truths for the Vikings. Dawn mist curls softly among towering rune-carved stone pillars in a sacred grove, their ancient symbols glowing faintly in the early light. A hooded seer slowly scatters raven bones across a stone altar, the clack of each bone echoing like whispered secrets in the hushed air. A single crimson drop, called giant's blood, falls onto smoldering hot coals. Steam rises, twisting into ghostly shapes, ethereal figures of warriors, gods, and beasts, materializing, then fading. The rasp of cold wind threading through the gnarled oaks, ravens caw overhead, their calls weaving like chants through the morning stillness. The sharp, metallic Thames of blood vaporizing on the roaring hearth. Tonight, we unveil the strangest beliefs that guided every blade swing, every harvest, and every heartbeat in the Viking world. Under a silver full moon, ghostly light filters through a circle of ancient trees strung with bone charms, their shadows dancing with the cool night breeze. The air is thick with anticipation and the faint crackle of a distant fire. Swalla, the seer, her eyes glowing with fervent intensity, chants, in a low, hypnotic rhythm, above a weathered wolf's skull, placed reverently on a stone altar. Nearby, Eric, the war priest, stands poised, gripping mistletoe leaves dipped in a potent venom, symbols of life, death, and paradox, entwined in sacred balance. With deliberate care, Svala lays the venom-soaked mistletoe upon the skull. Wisps of steam rise, swirling into spectral shapes as she intones an ancient rune, verse a prayer for protection, power, and transformation. Eric raises his hand and slashes his palm with a sharp blade, crimson beads falling onto the mistletoe leaves. The blood glistens, a living offering, invoking Odin's paradoxical wisdom, the poison that heals, the sacrifice that empowers. Around them, cloaked followers stand solemnly in a tight circle, eyes shimmering with reflected torchlight, bound together by shared belief and the ritual's potent promise. A sudden, piercing raven-esque cry shatters the silencer, sharp omen signaling the stirring of magic and the god's presence among them. The screen fades to black as Svala's voice whispers, haunting and resolute, "Now you carry the god's own venom. We trust medicine, laboratories, and logic microscopes, revealing secrets invisible to the eye. Digital data streaming across screens to guide decisions, evidence grounding our certainty. In pristine labs, scientists peer intently through lenses, their surroundings humming softly with the quiet pulse of machines. The sterile scent of antiseptic hanging in the air. Science stands as our modern lodestar, a beacon of clarity and control in a complex world. Yet, the Viking world thrummed with a very different certainty. Ravens, sacred and mysterious, were entrusted to choose kings. Dwarves mined the earth's depths, forging magic hidden in stone. And fertility rites involved rolling in dung beneath flickering torchlight, invoking life's renewal through ancient, earthy symbolism. Firelight dances flicker over painted faces and oiled skin. The sharp caw of birds slicing through night air, and the pungent earthiness of the rituals saturates the senses. Here, belief was primal, fierce, and all-encompassing, breathing magic into every heartbeat. Navigation today is digital and precise. Ships trace paths plotted by GPS satellites, their courses illuminated by glowing screens and beeps of guidance. In stark contrast, Viking raiders steered by story-star paths woven into sagas, celestial signs passed down through song and memory. Under the vast night sky, elders recount these cosmic tales as the wind rustles through sails, connecting myth and navigation in a seamless dance. Two worlds chart courses, one through cold data, the other through living legend. Their beliefs were as real as the steel gripped in a warrior's hand, fierce, undeniable, and absolute. In comparison, modern science, powerful and precise though it is, can feel muted, stripped of the spirit and fire that once drove entire cultures. The ring of metal on metal echoes with the same force as the soft click of laboratory instruments. Belief forged Viking identity as surely as any blade shaped their factory, minding us that the heart's certainty can be just as sharp and enduring as any sword. Beneath the epic sagas and heroic tales lies a hidden tapestry of Belafan, intricate web of lore, where animal oracles spoke truths, blood-runic sorcery etched destinies, and fertility rites arose from the filth and fecundity of the earth itself. This complex spiritual system shaped every aspect of Viking society, guiding warriors, farmers, and seers alike through the uncertainties of life and death. These ancient practices still challenge our understanding today, revealing a world where myth, magic, and reality were inseparably entwined. You will discover the cosmic dance of celestial animism, where constellations took the forms of wolves, elk, and serpents, guardians of fate and time, who guided both war and harvest. Animal divination was woven into daily life. Ravens whispered secrets from battlefields. Wolves marked omens in twilight forests, and seals bridged the boundaries between worlds as divine messengers. Blood runes and tattoos were more than marks. They were living spells, curses, and blessings carved in flesh that bled fate into enemies and bound warriors to their destiny. Fertility rites mixed earth and excess in rituals both raw and vivid, peasants rolling in dung to beckon abundance. Couples joining under enchanted mistletoe in weddings charged with magic. Experts, runologists, folklorists, and ecologists have pieced together these uncanny practices, unveiling a worldview that is alien to modern reason, yet deeply human. Their research reveals a culture where fear, faith, and survival coalesced into rituals both dark and ingenious. Brace yourself. These beliefs are stranger, darker, and more ingenious than you ever imagined. Tonight, we unravel the uncanny magic woven into Viking life. Prepare to see the Viking world anew. Excavations have uncovered burial mounds featuring depressions carefully shaped like birds' perches, intended for ravens believed to carry souls and fate beyond the mortal realm. Archaeologists gently brush away centuries of soil from these bird-shaped impressions, revealing a sacred space where the living connected with the divine through nature's messengers. The air is thick with the faint scent of earth and history, and the delicate scrape of tools echoes softly in the quiet field. Dr. Freya Lundquist, a behavioral ecologist, explains how ravens were much more than scavengers. Their flight patterns were read as political omens, guiding kingship and battle decisions. These burial mounds were not simply graves, but living symbols, where the boundary between life and the supernatural was bridged by the presence of these enigmatic birds. The Viking cosmos was a living tapestry, where constellations were not mere star formations, but divine beings, wolves prowling the night, elk grazing the heavens, serpents coiling through darkness. Meteor showers streaked the sky, remembered as Thor's tears, fiery signs from the gods shaping fate below. Animated star maps reveal how these celestial creatures guided warriors and farmers alike, marking time, seasons, and destiny itself. The cold shimmer of stars contrasts with the profound hush of the night, enveloping the viewer in cosmic mystery. This celestial animism gave Vikings a map not only of the skies but of their lives, a divine navigation system etched in myth and magic, where the heavens were alive with gods and beasts who watched over their world. Ravens perched high in sacred groves, their skulls found meticulously placed among ritual deposits, while seal oil lamps flickered in coastal caves, summoning the whispers of sea spirits. These animals served as oracles, conduits between the human and spirit worlds, offering guidance in moments of uncertainty. Close-ups show the reverence in ritual deposits, and shadowy caverns glow with the steady light of seal oil lamps, while the distant cries of sea creatures remind us of nature's voice. The scent of smoke lingers, carrying the sacred weight of ancient ceremony. Experts note how these creatures' behaviors were interpreted as messages from the divine, shaping decisions of war, harvest, and passage. In Viking thought, nature's voices were not random but filled with prophetic power, woven tightly into the fabric of belief and daily life. Archaeological finds revealed bone needles worn smooth by use and traces of red ochre pigments, evidence of tattoos mirroring runic amulets once etched into flesh. These were no mere decorations. Blood runes were living contracts, curses, and blessings, bleeding fate directly into skin. The sting of pigment and the sharp scratch of bone needles come alive through reenacted scenes where warriors endure the ritual pain to bind themselves to destiny or to inflict doom upon enemies. This corporeal magic made the intangible tangible. Flesh became a canvas for the supernatural, and tattoos a language of power and protection. Each mark carried deep significance, transforming the body into a battlefield of symbols, fate, and will. In the peat bogs near granaries, archaeologists uncover dung pits, raw repositories of decay preserved through time. Nearby, twisted mistletoe rings hang from sacrificial oaks, bearing alkaloid traces revealing their role in fertility rites. These earthy rituals blended the profane with the sacred, peasants rolling in dung to invoke life's renewal, and couples bound beneath mistletoe in ceremonies charged with magic. The heavy scent of earth and decay saturates the air in these reenactments, evoking a visceral connection to nature's wild cycles. These rites embraced life's raw, chaotic vitality, intertwining death and rebirth in a continuous dance that fueled agricultural abundance and community prosperity. Duck runic stones, carved with intricate images, tell tales of mistletoe rites, raven flights, and blood-spelling magic visual codices preserving sacred knowledge. Close-ups reveal the grain of weathered stone under careful fingertips, while CGI highlights symbolic elements once hidden in plain sight. These stones were not mere decoration, but contracts with fate, communicating through imagery what words alone could not capture. Professor Magnus Haraldsson, a renowned runologist, stresses that runes functioned as powerful oaths and spells, essential to Viking identity and ritual practice. Through these enduring carvings, the mystical and the mundane converge, weaving stories of power, protection, and cosmic order into the very fabric of stone. Behavioral ecologists and runologists unite to decode how Vikings weaponized nature's signs, mapping raven flight patterns to political tides and scripting destiny in blood runes. Scholars pore over field sites and historical records, overlaying raven migration routes with the rise and fall of rulers, unveiling a world where natural signals became instruments of power. Interviews capture their awe at the sophistication of this system, how nature's rhythms were harnessed to govern fate and forge authority. Their insights reveal Vikings as astute observers and cunning manipulators of the natural world, wielding its signs as both weapon and oracle. This blend of biology and belief crafted a culture where survival depended as much on interpreting the wild as on wielding the sword. A sweeping 3D fly-through reveals a reconstructed ritual grove alive with glowing runes, perched ravens, and looping mistletoe wreaths suspended in ancient trees. Light and shadow dance across the sacred space as wildlife moves quietly among stone altars and carved staves. The viewer is drawn into a living nexus of belief and power, where myth and reality entwine seamlessly. This immersive journey closes on a whispered reflection. Here, in this uncanny realm, the Viking world waits patiently to be rediscovered, its secrets hidden beneath soil and story, ready to speak anew. As twilight falls across the windswept moor, a torchlit stone circle comes alive with flickering shadows. Hooded figures approach slowly, their footsteps muffled by moss and earth. The air is thick with anticipation and reverence, the crackle of peat fires mixing with the crisp night breeze. Each figure carries the weight of ancient rite ceremonies that blur the line between mortal life and divine presence. The stones, worn smooth by generations, stand as silent sentinels to these sacred moments, bathed in the golden glow of firelight. This is a threshold where worlds converge, where whispered prayers and ritual acts bridge the earthly and the supernatural, binding the community to forces unseen but deeply felt. At dawn, to majestic ravens hugging and Munin take flight from a chieftain's broad shoulder, their wings slicing through the crisp morning light. These are no ordinary birds, but Odin's eyes and ears, carrying news and omens from distant realms. Their sharp calls echo across fjords and forests, a living connection between gods and men. As they soar, warriors and rulers alike await their return, knowing that the Raven's counsel will shape the fate of kings and the outcome of battles. The rush of wind through feathers and the piercing cry create an aura of mystery and power, embodying the belief that the gods watch over every decision, every heartbeat. In the heart of winter, a chieftain's journey was guided by a spectral wolf, its ethereal presence a beacon in the snowbound wilderness. This bond, chronicled in sagas and marked by the wolf pelt found draped in his burial, speaks to a kinship transcending death. Snow crunches beneath heavy boots, while frost-laden air bites sharply, yet the wolf's silent tracks offer comfort and direction. This relationship was more than companionship. It was spiritual guidance, a merging of man and beast against the harsh forces of nature. The howl of wolves in the distance reminds us of this enduring loyalty, an ancient pact sealed not just in life, but carried beyond the veil. On the brutal fields of battle, warriors wielded more than swords. They bore curses etched into bone shards, blood runes, embedded in enemy shields to bleed misfortune and death. These sinister tokens, inscribed with dark symbols, carried the weight of fatal magic. Close-ups revealed jagged fragments carved with runic script, while reenactments show fierce combatants embedding these shards beneath their foes' defenses. The sting of steel on skin and the slow drip of blood lend a visceral reality to these deadly charms. This was magic, weaponized, corporeal, and terrifying, where fate was not only fought for, but carved, bled, and bound in flesh and bone. Under the full spring moon, villagers partake in a ritual, both raw and sacred, drolling in cow dung to invoke fertility and blessing upon the land. Firelight flickers over joyous dancers coated in the thick, earthy muck, their laughter mingling with the primal scent of manure. The slickness of mud underfoot contrasts with the fiery warmth of celebration, embodying the paradox of life emerging from decay. This rite embraces the wild cycles of nature, where filth and fecundity entwine in a vivid dance of renewal. It's a visceral connection to the earth's abundance, a communal act to awaken the soil's hidden power and ensure bountiful harvests. Lovers stand beneath arching boughs, heavy with mistletoe, their hands entwined as elders weave wreaths charged with enchantment. These weddings bind couples, not just in flesh, but in fate, promising 7 years of plentiful harvest or invoking Thor's fierce wrath should vows falter. The sweet, sharp scent of mistletoe fills the air, mingling with the hush of reverence as the community witnesses these sacred unions. This ritual entwines love and magic, hope and warning, a potent symbol of life's fragile balance. Through this ceremony, bonds are sanctified in both human and divine realms, weaving couples into the enduring tapestry of Viking faith. The night air trembles with the steady crackle of a peat fire, its warm glow casting flickering shadows over gathered faces. Sparks drift upward, dissolving into a canopy of stars as elders share tales of gods, battles, and ancient rites. The fire's warmth seeps into bones chilled by the cold moor, grounding the community in shared memory and sacred space. The scent of smoke and damp earth weaves through the gathering, a sensory thread linking past and present. Here, at the heart of the night, the peat fire serves as both hearth and altar, a beacon of comfort, storytelling, and spiritual communion. A lone wolf's howl pierces the stillness, its eerie call rippling across the moor like a wild lament. The silhouette of the creature cuts a stark figure against the moonlit landscape, embodying the primal forces shaping Viking fears and faith. The chill night air carries the sound, a haunting reminder of nature's ever-present power and unpredictability. This mournful cry resonates within the hearts of the villagers, intertwining with ritual and lore. It is both a warning and a connectioner, symbol of the untamed wild that surrounds and influences human destiny. Blood thickly coats ancient stone altars, its metallic scent sharp in the cool night air. Close-ups reveal the deep red stains, remnants of sacrifice and offerings meant to secure protection, fertility, or victory. The slow drip of blood onto weathered surfaces echoes like a heartbeat, a solemn rhythm marking life's price in rituals old as the land itself. This visceral imagery grounds the viewer in the raw reality of belief, where sacrifice was tangible and power came at a steep cost. The pungent tang serves as a potent reminder of the intertwining of life, death, and divine favor. As 2 black ravens land atop the altar, the gathered crowd falls into a hushed reverence, watching their every movement with bated breath. The soft flap of wings and the quiet rustle of feathers command attention, carrying the weight of portent and prophecy. Are these divine emissaries granting approval or issuing a dire warning? The flickering torchlight illuminates their glossy feathers, casting shifting shadows that dance across the faces of the assembled. Heartbeats quicken as the moment stretches, a fragile intersection of fate and faith. This delicate balance embodies the Viking worldview, where omens shaped choices and the unseen guided the living. Every sword swung and shield raised carried the invisible weight of belief. Warriors donned runic amulets, their prayers whispered under breath, each move entwined with the gods' watchful gaze. Preparations for battle were steeped in magic and ritual, where faith became as vital as steel. The clang of armor and the murmured invocations echoed through longhouses and battlefields alike. These men fought not only with muscle and skill, but with conviction that their fate was intertwined with divine will. Their courage was fueled by stories, omens, and the deep knowledge that belief could tip the scales between life and death. The rhythms of life pulsed with the seasons, marked by fertility rites and blood magic. Festivals illuminated the dark months with fire and dance, binding the community to cycles of death and rebirth. Offerings on stone altars, dancers circling bonfires, and the scent of herbs in the air wove a sacred tapestry of time. Each ritual reaffirmed the fragile balance between humanity and the natural world, underscoring that fate was tied to the Earth's eternal cycles. Through these ceremonies, Vikings anchored their lives within a cosmic order, drawing strength from the turning seasons and the promise of renewal. As the ritual draws to a close and night deepens, the ancient rites linger in the cool air echoes of a world where belief shaped every heartbeat and sword stroke. The slow fade from the flickering altar fire to a star-studded sky invites reflection on a culture where magic was life itself. Ravens caw softly in the distance, their calls weaving through the darkness. A reminder that the Viking spirit remains alive, woven through flesh, stone, and soul. This legacy, mysterious and powerful, beckons us to remember and rediscover the uncanny truths of a people whose world was made sacred by myth and ritual. Viking clans proudly traced their roots back to gods and powerful animal totems. Wolves and bears, blurring the line between mortal ancestry and divine favor. Illuminated manuscripts capture these connections vividly. Men adorned with raven feathers woven into beards, warriors bearing wolf pelts, and crests emblazoned with fierce beasts. The flicker of candlelight dances across parchment, casting shadows on intricate drawings, while the rough texture of woven furs and carved symbols speaks to a world where myth shaped identity. This deep intertwining of lineage and legend fostered a profound sense of belonging, uniting kin through shared heritage and supernatural guardianship. In this belief, the clan was not merely a family, but a living embodiment of sacred power, a bond that transcended blood to embrace the spirits of totemic animals, protectors, guides, and emblems of strength. In Viking society, fear was not suppressed but carefully harnessed and transformed through ritual. Ceremonies like dung rolling inverted social norms, turning nobles and peasants alike into laughing, mud-smeared participants. These events released the community's pent-up anxiety, allowing shared fears to dissipate in moments of joy and chaos. Village scenes burst with life faces smeared with earthy manure, laughter echoing through timbered halls and open fields. The heavy scent of manure mingles with the sound of hearty chuckles, embodying a collective catharsis. These rites acted as a safety valve, diffusing tension caused by threats of raids, famine, and death. By temporarily overturning social hierarchies and embracing the absurd, the Vikings created space for communal relief and resilience. Fear, no longer a paralyzing force, but a conduit for unity and renewal. Unbreakable bonds were forged in the heat of ritual through blood oaths sworn in sacred halls, sealing loyalty between kin and comrades. Tattoos etched with runic symbols adorned flesh, transforming skin into living contracts of trust and allegiance. Visuals reveal warriors gathered by firelight, voices solemn as they swear sacred vows, hands grasping tightly in fellowship. Close-ups trace the intricate runic tattoos-etched lines, glowing faintly in the fire's warmth. The sting of needle and ink, a constant reminder of commitment. The warmth of the flames contrasts with a sharp bite of needle on skin, a sensory dance of pain and pride. These rituals transcended mere promises, making loyalty tangible, visible, and eternal, binding hearts and blades alike in the crucible of shared destiny. Dr. Sigrid Thamson, a cultural psychologist, explains how Vikings converted paralyzing dread into communal courage through deeply embedded rituals. Interview snippets show her reflecting on rites that shaped social cohesion, while reenactments depict ceremonies fostering mutual trust and readiness. She emphasizes that ritual was not mere superstition, but a psychological tool channeling fear into strength and solidarity. Scenes illustrate villagers swearing oaths, performing rites, and gathering for protective ceremonies. The rhythmic beating of drums and the chanting of sacred words create a palpable sense of empowerment, transforming individual anxiety into collective resilience. For Vikings, ritual became the social glue that held communities intact amid constant peril, turning dread from a source of paralysis into a foundation for action and unity. Viking rites served as social mirrors, reflecting and reinforcing community values and hierarchies. The strangest ceremonies embodied societal dynamics, elders presiding over rituals underscored authority, while communal participation affirmed belonging. Visuals show villagers gathered in circles, elders conducting rites with solemnity, children watching intently. The murmur of voices and crackling fire weave through these scenes, underscoring belief as a lens to understand and uphold social order. These rites did more than control behavior. They expressed Viking ideals of loyalty, courage, and honor. In their collective enactment, the community saw its structure reflected back each ritual, both a lesson and a reaffirmation, binding individuals to the group's shared identity and values. Stories and folklore passed down through generations created a shared memory that bound Vikings to their land and to each other. Around firelit circles, storytellers recounted sagas of gods, heroes, and ancestors, their voices rising and falling with dramatic cadence. Children listened wide-eyed, absorbing lessons woven into myth warnings, values, and histories distilled into narrative form. The flicker of flames illuminates faces eager to connect past and present. These tales did more than entertain. They crafted a collective consciousness, turning memory into social glue that forged unity and cultural continuity. Through myth, Vikings anchored themselves in a timeless story, one that shaped their understanding of identity, fate, and belonging. Tattoos and totems stood as visible embodiments of clan identity and protection. Detailed shots reveal the intricate patterns inked into skin runes, animals, and symbolic designs telling stories of lineage and power. Nearby, towering totem poles carved with fierce beasts stand sentinel over villages, their rough wood weathered by time. The rough textures of skin and wood invite touch, connecting body and environment. These marks were not mere decoration, but carried spiritual and social significance, marking membership, status, and protection. Wearing these symbols proudly, Vikings embodied their heritage and invoked ancestral power. Each tattoo and totem, a living testament to identity worn boldly and fiercely. The strangest Viking rites were not simply odd customs, but profound reflections of their culture, demonstrating how belief shapes identity, fear, and social order. Montage sequences weave images of rituals, clan gatherings, tattoos, and totems, fading slowly into a glowing rune circle. Narration underscores the deep human need to ritualize experience, manage anxiety, and forge community. These rites offered structure, meaning, and solidarity essential to survival in a harsh world. Through myth and ritual, Vikings forged society itself, binding individuals into networks of trust and shared purpose. In this enduring legacy, we see how belief remains a powerful force shaping communities, echoing across time and culture. Beneath the Earth's surface, hidden from sight, Viking ritualists carved long subterranean chambers designed to resonate with deep, powerful drumbeats. These chambers amplified sound frequencies that could induce trance-like states, opening doorways to altered consciousness. The slow, rhythmic throb of drums pulsed through damp, cold air, reverberating against stone and soil, enveloping participants in a sonic embrace that transcended the ordinary. This was no mere music, it was a deliberate tool crafted to unlock hidden realms of the mind. preparing the soul for communion with gods and spirits. Professor Leif Gunnarsson describes this as science before science, a ritualized manipulation of sound to influence perception and emotion long before modern understanding. These drum chambers were the heartbeats of secret ceremonies, where vibration and silence wove together, transforming fear, hope, and faith into something tangible, communal, and powerful. Viking fertility rites and mistletoe ceremonies were not random acts, but carefully timed to coincide with solstitial full moons, when nature's power peaked under the soft silver glow of the moon. Sacred groves shimmered with the lush vitality of mistletoe branches, their sap running richest and their magic at its most potent. The rustling leaves whispered secrets in the cool night breeze as villagers gathered to honor cycles of life and renewal. This lunar timing was essential. It linked human action to cosmic rhythms, embedding rituals in the grand orchestration of the natural world. Such celestial synchronization magnified the potency of ceremonies, ensuring fertility, protection, and favor from the gods. In this delicate dance between earth and sky, Vikings harnessed the universe's pulse, making time itself a sacred element of their magic. In the dim glow of ritual spaces, kin bound their fates by mixing blood in a shared horn, drinking deeply to seal loyalty and memory through collective sacrifice. This act was raw, intimate, a visceral contract forged in pain and trust. The metallic scent of fresh blood filled the air, mingling with the heavy breath of participants. The iron tang left a burning taste on tongues, anchoring the moment in the body's nerve endings. Such blood oaths transcended spoken words, embedding promises into flesh and spirit, making betrayal unthinkable. They created a bond beyond social contracts, a binding of souls that survived hardship and death. This shared trauma was a foundation for unity, transforming fear into collective strength and commitment. A ritual recognition that some pacts must be sealed in blood to hold runes etched on bone were believed dormant until awakened by the smith's breath and the forge. Esphira, fusion of spirit and craft. The blacksmith exhaled life into glowing runic inscriptions. As sparks danced and smoke curled, the heat igniting unseen power within the carved symbols. The ritual of activation blended tangible elements: breath, flame, metal with intangible forces of fate and magic. This transformative moment turned inert bone into a living talisman, charged with protective or destructive energy. The heat's glow reflected in focused eyes, the rasp of breath mingling with the forge's roar, creating a sensory symphony of creation. For Vikings, the smith was more than a craftsman. He was a sorcerer whose forge sparked the alchemy of spirit and matter, awakening the rune's ancient might for battle and blessing. Ritual spaces were carefully designed to shape experience and guide participants through choreographed movement. Rune circles, placed with precision, channeled footfalls and gazes, synchronizing group psychology. Overhead drone views reveal stone arrangements, forming intricate patterns, pathways laid out for procession and dance. Actors move in deliberate sequences, their steps echoing the intended flow of energy and focus. The crunch of footsteps on earth blends with whispered chants, binding the physical and spiritual realms. Dr. Navin Patel highlights how these spatial designs altered consciousness, creating a shared mental state among participants. The environment itself became an active participant in ritual shaping perception, heightening emotion and weaving individuals into a collective presence. These circles were more than stones. They were tools of transformation, framing belief through movement and space. Anthropologists and neuroanthropologists studying Viking rites see them as early forms of ritual. Science pre-chemical and pre-philosophical systems designed to manipulate mind and body through sound, space, and shared trauma. These rituals leveraged ancestral neurological pathways to create altered states of consciousness and social cohesion. Visuals show scholars in labs examining brain scans synced to rhythmic drumming, overlaying ancient site maps with neurological data. Experts describe how Vikings understood the power of sensory inputs long before formal science. The thrum of drums, the communal sharing of blood, and spatial choreography all rewired minds for cohesion and belief. These discoveries reveal a sophisticated, intuitive grasp of human psychology rituals as tools to transform fear, bind groups, and invoke the sacred. Such insight challenges modern assumptions about primitive cultures, unveiling an ancestral knowledge rooted in the human brain itself. Deep underground, Viking rituals unfolded in near-total darkness, punctuated by flickering torchlight and the pulsing beat of drums. The cavernous chambers reverberated with sound, shadows danced wildly on rune-covered walls, and raven bones cast eerie shapes that seemed to move with the flickering flames. The low-frequency vibration was felt in bones and muscles, a sensory overload designed to overwhelm ordinary perception and open channels to other worlds. The flicker of torchlight created shifting illusions, enhancing the trance state. Participants surrendered to the enveloping darkness and soundscape in immersive experience that blurred the lines between reality and the spiritual realm. This atmosphere was a gateway, a carefully crafted sensory environment invoking awe, fear, and transcendence. It was a ritual laboratory where mind, body, and spirit converged in a dance as old as time. Beneath the spectacle of Viking rites lay a hidden science, precise levers of sound, blood, fire, and space ritual magic intertwined with early psychology. As drums beat deep in underground chambers, runes shimmered faintly, and raven bones cast long shadows, we glimpse a sophisticated blueprint of mind mastery. These rituals were not random acts of superstition but deliberate manipulations designed to evoke altered consciousness and bind communities in shared experience. The closing montage shows glowing runes, rhythmic drumbeats, and silhouetted raven bones, weaving together ancient power and human ingenuity. This legacy echoes in modern ritual and neuroscience, reminding us that beneath myth lies profound knowledge. In darkness and sound, Vikings mastered mind and mython, enduring testament to human creativity and the quest for transcendence. Under a bright full moon, a modern drum circle pulses with life-diverse hands striking skins in unison, bodies swaying as one rhythmic force. The deep, primal throb of the drums resonates through the night air, echoing the ancient Viking trance ceremonies where rhythmic sound forged collective will and courage. Faces close up, focused and serene, reflect an age-old communion as the vibration flows from drum to heart to soul. Foot stomps sync in steady cadence, connecting participants physically and spiritually. This ritual is not merely music. It is a conduit to shared identity and strength, a binding force that transcends time and culture. Social psychologist Dr. Emma Clark notes, these ancient rhythms continue to bind communities, offering a sense of unity and resilience that modern life often lacks. The drum's pulse is a heartbeat of continuity, reminding us that while tools and contexts evolve, the need for communal connection through ritual remains deeply human. In packed stadiums, thousands unite in thunderous chants, their voices merging into a single, overwhelming roar. This modern-day collective echoes Viking war cries and ritual chants, which once rallied clans in purpose and shared fear. Flags wave and bodies pulse in synchrony, transforming disparate individuals into a cohesive force with a shared identity and goal. The pounding of feet against the earth adds to the electric atmosphere, forging emotional bonds in the crucible of sound and movement. Dr. Emma Clark explains. Synchrony is timeless, social glue. It builds trust and resilience, turning crowds into communities. The raw energy of these gatherings connects us to our ancestors' need for unity amid uncertainty, revealing that human beings have long sought strength in collective expression. Whether on a medieval battlefield or a modern arena, the power of synchronized voice and motion remains a profound force of belonging. Today, corporate logos and fandom flags serve as modern equivalents of Viking raven and wolf crests, symbols that rally identity, loyalty, and pride. Close-ups reveal the vivid colors and intricate designs of sports team banners fluttering in stadiums, while corporate emblems command recognition and allegiance in urban landscapes. These icons carry deep meaning, transcending mere decoration, to become visual anchors for belonging and shared values. Similarly, Viking shields bore fierce animal motifs: ravens, wolves, bears that linked warriors to clan, spirit, and myth. The rustle of fabric and the gleam of painted wood create a sensory continuity across time. These symbols embody a collective identity, reinforcing social cohesion through visual storytelling. As emblems of group pride and protection, logos and flags connect individuals to a larger narrative, just as Viking totems once did, reminding us that symbolic imagery remains a potent language of unity and power. Military brothers today often share matching tattoos, visual seals of loyalty and shared fate that echo Viking blood oaths, inked permanently on flesh. Soldiers reveal arms etched with identical symbols, marking bonds forged in adversity, commitment beyond words. The buzz of tattoo machines fills sterile rooms, needles delivering precise patterns onto skin, each prick carrying the sting of sacrifice and permanence. These modern tattoos, like Viking runic carvings, embody trust made visible, binding comradeship in a language of flesh and ink. Reenactments show ancient warriors enduring ritual carvings with bone needles and red pigments, the slow drip of blood marking contracts with fate. The emotional weight of these marks lies in their embodiment of loyalty, courage, and identity. Tattoo packed sentient, and modern transforms social bonds into living art. A testament that kinship and commitment are etched not just in words but on skin itself. Electronic raves under glowing full moons channel the primal energy of Viking solstitial mistletoe ceremonies, gatherings where communal release and transformation unfold beneath lunar light. Neon beams slice through the night as bodies dance in rhythmic abandon, echoing ancient movements once performed in sacred groves. The pulse of electronic beats merges with the rustling of leaves in the gentle night wind, creating a sensory fusion of old and new. Viking couples once bound themselves beneath enchanted mistletoe boughs, sealing harvest blessings or inviting Thor's wrath. Today's moonlit festivals celebrate freedom, connection, and transcendence in a similarly sacred space. The emotional power of these lunar nights lies in their ability to unite individuals in shared ecstasy, releasing fear and embracing community. The moon's timeless glow guides dancers and lovers alike, reminding us that ritual, ancient or modern, is a vital thread in human experience. Dr. Emma Clark reflects on the continuity of ritual, revealing how ancient Viking techniques underpin the social fabric of modern gatherings. Interviews cut between reenactments of Viking rites and vibrant contemporary festivals, illustrating the timeless human craving for connection and shared meaning. Clarke explains, ritual is a fundamental human need, binding individuals into communities, providing structure, safety, and identity. These rituals, whether in longhouses or concert arenas, serve similar psychological functions, transforming fear into courage, solitude into belonging. Visuals show faces glowing with firelight or neon, hands joining in dance or oath, voices rising in unison across centuries. The unbroken thread of ritual highlights how human nature shapes and is shaped by collective experience, proving that despite changing forms, the core impulses remain the same. This expert insight bridges past and present, underscoring the power of belief to forge enduring social bonds. The strangest Viking beliefs, once dismissed as quaint or barbaric, reside, alive and vibrant, in today's weekend rites. From roaring concerts to spirited sporting events, the echoes of ancient ritual still pulse beneath modern celebration. The warmth of crowd energy and the flicker of firelight mingle with stage lights and digital screens, creating a continuous sensory flow across time. Symbols of belonging, whether runic or neon, shape identity and meaning for millions worldwide. This living legacy reveals human nature's unyielding desire for shared magic, unity, and transcendence. These beliefs and rituals are not relics but active forces, woven into the fabric of contemporary life. In embracing them, we participate in a timeless dance of connection, one that ties us to ancestors and future generations alike. The power of belief, ritual, and collective experience endures as a vital human glue. A split-screen montage blends Viking symbols, raven feathers, runic stones, carved shields with modern icon steam logos. Tattooed skin, neon festival lights, hands reach across time, joining in celebration, a visual bridge uniting past and present. The rustle of ancient fabrics mingles with the tap of touchscreen devices. As the montage fades to black, a quiet voice intones our ancestors' magic pulses in us, still binding past to present in a shared heartbeat. This final image captures the timeless human need to belong, to mark identity through ritual and symbol, and to find strength in unity. Across centuries, cultures, and technologies, the thread of communal magic weaves through us, all reminding us that though the forms evolve, the human spirit remains constant, forever seeking connection and meaning. Dawn breaks softly over a runestone circle, mist lifting as ravens wheel silently above, their black wings slicing the pale sky. The ancient stones stand weathered yet resolute, etched with symbols that have witnessed centuries of faith and fear. They trusted ravens, runes, and rituals to shape their fate, beliefs woven deeply into the fabric of their lives. These strangest rites were not mere superstition, but living experiments in human unity and resilience. And today, as drums echo in moonlit circles and crowds chant beneath stadium lights, we find ourselves continuing their legacy, running these ancient rituals anew every weekend. Svaula the seer kneels among dew-damp grass, her bone-tipped torch flickering before she gently extinguishes it, smoke curling like whispered secrets into the morning air. Cut to a modern ritualist closing a fire circle at a full moon gathering, hands lowering, drum beats fading, yet the bonds forged in shared rhythm and belief linger, unbroken and vibrant. What rituals and beliefs of our time will future generations see as strange or inexplicable? And what hidden power do they hold for us now, binding communities, shaping identities, transforming fear into connection. Look closely at the rituals in your own life. Perhaps the magic you dismiss is the very thread that weaves you into a larger story. A shared heartbeat spanning generations. A single raven feather drifts slowly down, landing within a glowing rune circle carved into earth, a symbol of the unbroken cycle of belief. Ancient and enduring, weaving past and present into one timeless story.